those where the box score and actually the overall performance felt like it was buried beneath the setting. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Pirates 8, Cardinals 4 last night at an almost empty PNC Park. No, I promise I'm not going at this negatively on purpose. I was there. I'm sharing with you my impressions. Any of the other 2,000 souls in that stadium might have had different impressions, and I would respect them all equally. They might be most moved by Andrew McCutchen, Joey Bart, and Andy Rodriguez, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, each having 2 hits. Cutchen, Bart, and Kiner-Falefa each had 2 RBIs as well. Bart with a home run and a triple off the top of the fence. Carmen Mlodzinski, 5 innings, 1 run, 5 hits. Thomas Harrington came in relief, and even though he got hit a little bit, 3 runs and 4 hits over 4 innings, he ended up getting the official save, what used to be known a long time ago in these parts as an Elroy face save. And I'm going to tell you that, man, there's a long way to go. A long way to go. Not even talking about like the franchise of the future or anything, or anything that's far out. I'm talking about just getting up from this figurative mat. The Pirates are now 4-7. They've won 2 in a row after what felt like end of the world events Friday and Saturday against the Yankees. They pulled one out Sunday to avoid getting swept, and now they got this one, and maybe it's something, maybe it's not. They've now played 11 games, and they've looked like a major league offense in exactly one of those 11 games, that being this one, of course. But when you step back from this game, step back from any of the stats, the standings, or all that tangible stuff, you can feel in there right now. You can feel in that clubhouse that there's an awareness of how far this all fell in those opening 9-10 days. They know, they get it. There isn't that Bradenton detachment that I'm talking about all the time. They're in spring training and maybe they think everybody up here is all stoked for the season and everything. And in fact, they're just getting trashed in every social media, any place where there's any kind of communication. It's negative. And maybe they could even be isolated from that in a way with those first 7 games still being in Florida, in Miami and Tampa, of course. Then, you come home. Place is packed. Yankees are there. Planes flying overhead during batting practice. It says, "Sell the team, Bob." Derek Shelton gets booed. All that stuff we've already talked about here. And they know. They're aware of it. So one of the things that I was thinking last night inside that clubhouse was how there has to be real live leadership within the player structure for this to happen. Now, that's not to suggest that leadership solves everything or that they're lacking leadership. It just means that I think everybody now gets the scope of the assignment. 2 players were brought in from the outside to help in that regard. And I like that concept because, truth be told, that element was not in play in the 2024 season. If anything, that was a clubhouse that needed a lot more policing, in particular, to have gotten rid of Rowdy Tellez a lot earlier than he was gotten rid of. But this time, in this offseason, the players who were acquired as free agents to do this, in part, were Adam Frazier and Tommy Pham, both of whom had similar roles with their previous employers and both of whom are accepting isn't the right word, embracing that role here in every way, including now when it seems the darkest. I spoke with both of them after this game. In fact, they have lockers that are right next to each other. So at certain points, I was talking literally with both of them, but also had separate sessions. And I can condense the broader conversation by saying this. Well, these two things. One, for the Pirates as a whole to begin feeling better about themselves, first and foremost, they need to hit. Now, these guys aren't going to be the ones to be criticizing anyone else. Frazier's batting .200 after an 0-for-4 last night, although he had one ball that he really stung and felt good about. And Pham went 1-for-3 with a walk, but that only got him up to 121 as far as batting average. Frazier expressed confidence that it's going to come, not just for himself, but for the team as a whole. There's a bunch of guys that are down there in terms of stats. For every, Kutch, who's hitting 348, Kiner Falefa at 343, and both no doubt are due to move down over the course of time. You've got O'Neal Cruz at 222. He's probably not going to stay there. You've got Brian Reynolds about 60 points below his career norm. You've got Bart at 250. He's probably a little bit better than that. There's some mathematical comeuppance on the way. And there's also one quiet, I think, bit of encouragement from seeing Ke'Bryan Hayes, who went 1-for-3 with a walk and an RBI. He's at 263 with a 754 OPS. I got to tell you, if he ends up in that range and has some pop to go with it, and he assured me, by the way, after this game that his back's not going to be an issue. He's going to get through this season. He's learned how to deal with it. Big smile on his face as he spoke, because he knows I had back problems myself, so we talk about it probably more than we should. Frazier said it's a matter of time. He also said that he believes that it's a simple issue as far as leadership goes and making sure that guys focus on just that day. Don't worry about the previous day. Don't worry about the next day. Just be the best hitter that you can be that day. I asked Pham, in turn, what he says to other players who might be struggling.
It's a tough question because everybody handles adversity different. One, you got to look at guys' track records, and you look at how guys work. Then you look at, in game, are you seeing progress? Like baseball hitting is so complicated because you could hit the ball on the screws every at batting and not get a hit. Then you could hit the ball on the end of the bat and get a hit every at bat. So
third base, dude.
It's
everybody right?
Yeah, it's very conducive to results.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not pumping these guys up as being like part-time coaches or something. They know better than anybody that they need to perform, or their voices get tuned out, whether people want to tune them out or not, whether people respect them or not. You still have to show it in the moment. You still have to have your positive scenes the way Pham had with his 11th inning walk-off hit against the Yankees. But the number one takeaway here, again, was, long way to go. When we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragecheck.org. That's gunstoragecheck.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Mark, who says, DK, the Pirates have gotten so bad during the Ben Cherington era that fabric players just could put in the dumpster along with everyone else. Austin Hedges was booed out of town, and he goes on to be the fabric of the clubhouses in Arlington and Cleveland. I think you can see that in Andy Rodriguez. You mentioned Travis Snyder often. How can this team finally defeat the losing culture so that it never comes back, and that winning players, even if they aren't all-stars, can have an impact? Well, the timing of this question is obviously pretty good, considering the opening subject of today's episode. I'm now going to walk back the opening of today's episode, because I always feel like even though I want to discuss leadership, I want to discuss intangibles, I want to discuss culture and chemistry and camaraderie and all that fun stuff, that as soon as I do that, it feels like it's superseding what actually matters. Hedges got booed out of town because he played badly. And because within that, the Pirates didn't have other catchers pushing him or knocking him out of some sort of starting role, as had happened with both the Rangers and the Guardians. They weren't counting on Hedges for anything other than when he'd go behind the plate to do the usual professional job. You probably couldn't find anybody in either of those environments who could even tell you what Hedges' offensive stats were. They didn't care. Whereas in Pittsburgh, we're all just looking up at the scoreboard saying, this dude's batting 160. Why does he even exist? Never mind, why is he collecting $5 million from a team that can't afford to pay $5 million for a below-level replacement player? Well, that ends up affecting him. He's a sensitive guy. I don't say that as a shot. He was just, you could tell right away as soon as he got to Pittsburgh that he had kind of that sensitive element to him. And I'm sure that affected his work behind the plate, because he was uncommonly and uncharacteristically not very effective as a catcher either. Now, I say all that, and I can just throw it out, because you can have the best rah-rah people in the world. You could have the best in-your-face, vocal, screaming, flip the food table kind of leaders in your room. It's not going to matter if you can't hit. And that was what I appreciated the most about this dual dialogue that I had with Adam Frazier and Tommy Pham last night. They get that the number one thing they can do to help the Pirates and the leadership, as I was mentioning before, is to hit. Play your position well. Do all the right stuff, not just in batting practice and in the cage and in how so-and-so carries himself in the clubhouse environment. That's all wonderful, but that's all a bonus. They have to hit. And Mark, to really answer your question about the culture, fabric guys, as you refer to them, they're pieces that augment onto talent. It's not that they drive the talent or they get the most out of the talent. They're on top of that. And I don't have to make this case to anybody who regularly listens to this program, but there's not enough talent. There's just not enough talent. Certainly not offensively. I appreciate the question. A good one. Appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. And we'll be back with another one of these tomorrow after Paul Skeens pitches in an exceptional pitching matchup tonight against no less than Sonny Gray. Good stuff.